Hey, Miles.
What?
Why do fathers take an extra pair of socks when they go golfing?
Why?
You don't have a guess?
No. It's a joke, right?
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to guess. Tell me.
In case they get a hole in one. Okay,
So
okay.
I have to tell you.
Oh, go
So
ahead.
shout out to my boy Justin. He and I today. Do you know the guys on TikTok where they tell dad jokes and then afterwards they're like
Yeah.
ah ah. So we were doing that like all day today. It was great. It was
Do
funny.
you have
Like,
any good ones that you remember?
not really. No, we just just repeated the same ones. Like Justin was like, what do you call cheese that isn't yours? Nacho cheese. And he knocks something off the desk. It goes ha. I'm like, you're great.
Okay, I have one more for you.
Okay.
What do you call a fish wearing a bow tie?
What?
Sophisticated.
I'm gonna have to tell these to him tomorrow.
Oh man. All right. Okay, before we begin, I just wanted to quickly say how much I appreciate all of the support that we've gotten with releasing our first couple of episodes. We've gotten really good feedback from everyone, and it just means a lot. So thank you. Did you have anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah, keep it up. Keep listening to us because we're fantastic.
Yeah,
Tell your
keep
friends.
doing it.
Tell your friends to tell their friends, and then one of these days we're gonna have the whole world
We're
underneath
gonna have
our.
a bunch of minions. Oh, speaking of, we've had a few suggestions on what we should name our fans.
Oh really? What?
So Logan, he said we should call them the Fam Dammers.
Okay.
And then Mariah
Just said the dammers.
just said the Dammers, yeah. So we have Dammers and Fam Dammers. So
Cool.
what's up, Dammers? Fam Dammers? I feel like I'm swearing. I mean, I kind of am.
Yeah.
Cool. So, are you ready for the story?
We'll see.
I am genuinely so excited about this. It's 7 pages of notes,
Holy crap.
but
Okay.
it should go by pretty quickly. I am going to let you know I got most of my notes from a website called Pennsylvania Heritage, and their notes were like 20 pages long. So the fact that I was able to condense, hey,
I'm impressed.
I think I'm on the right track here. I'm going to be telling a story of a very infamous family,
Infamous. Cool. Okay.
but I'm not going to tell you their name until I get to a certain point.
Not the Kardashians, right?
It's not. It's not the Kardashians.
I'm expecting you one of these days to tell me about the Kardashians.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe I'll surprise you and tell you about them, even though you know everything about them already.
Yeah.
And I know next to nothing.
That'll change
'Kay.
one day because either you'll do all the research or I'll tell you the story.
All right.
Anyways, this story is not the Kardashians.
Okay, cool. Tell me about them.
But if at any point during this you have like a legitimate guess, please let me know. I'd
Okay.
love to hear your input. This family is coined America's royal family of the theater.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna start. So the story is centered around 3 siblings who were born in the mid 1800s. So the siblings' names are Lionel, Ethel, and John. Do not be Googling.
I'm not. I was.
Oh.
I had a notification that you get rid of.
Oh, I was about to smack that phone out of your hand.
No, I'm not a cheater.
So they were born in Philadelphia in the mid 1800s, these 3 siblings, okay? So before I talk about them, I'm going to tell you a little background about their parents because it's important. So their parents were Maurice and Georgina, or Georgie. So Maurice, the dad, he was originally named Herbert Arthur Chamberlain Hunter Blythe.
That's a mouthful. Okay.
And he was born in India. So Maurice changed his name from Herbert Arthur Chamberlain Hunter Blythe to Maurice with the last name that I'm not telling you yet, to help spare his parents embarrassment for his actions and his life.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And people also say that he kind of just enjoyed the romanticism of having this new name.
I mean, same there.
He moved to the States in 1875.
Where from? India?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when he was 28 years old, for opportunity, he was considered witty, handsome, and irrepressible.
Same there. I'm just kidding.
I don't know exactly when this was, but in England, he won the lightweight championship for wrestling.
Nice. Okay.
So that's just kind of like a little bit about his character and about who he was. But eventually he does become a pretty renowned performer.
Okay.
So here's how he gets into that. He ends up marrying Georgina, or Georgie. Georgie is the daughter of a comedian named John Drew. John Drew died when she was a little one. So, but he was, known for his comedy. Anyways, Her mother, Louisa Lane Drew, managed the Arch Street Theater in Philadelphia. So we're talking about Georgie's family. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we have the comedian John, the manager of the theater, Louisa, and then the two of them had 3 kids. John Drew Jr., who was considered to be the most gentlemanly actor of his day, Georgina, who was also an actress, and then Louisa, the younger, or who they called Wiza, who was also performing.
Okay.
So the whole family viewed acting as life's chief purpose. And after moving to the States, Maurice married into this family, which kind of helped him get a start on his performance career.
Yeah,
he didn't have any formal training, and that wasn't really his goal, but that's what happened.
Nice. Okay.
Just like how you had absolutely no ties to Wyoming, yet here you are.
Yay.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about Georgie's mom, Louisa.
Okay.
Essentially, Georgie and Maurice, they were performers. So a lot of times they lived in Philadelphia, so a lot of times they would travel to New York to do Broadway shows and stuff. And so Louisa's house was kind of like this big hub for their kids. So the 3 kids that I told you about, Lionel, Ethel, and John.
Lionel, Ethel, and John. John Drew Jr. Is that him? Or is that a different one?
That's a different one.
Okay. Okay, never
That
mind.
is, John Drew Jr. is Georgie's brother. There's a
okay.
lot of Johns in this story, but don't worry
It's
about
such
it.
a generic name. Sorry, anyone who's named John.
So, Philadelphia in general was a place where a lot of people got their start with acting before, they moved on to Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, especially with Louisa running that theater, there was a lot of talent in and out. And so that's kind of how the atmosphere was for these kids growing up.
What was the name of the theater? Would that give it away?
No, I told you it.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Arch Street Theater.
Oh, Street Theater. Okay.
In Philadelphia.
So far, no guesses.
Okay. Luis and Maurice were often on the road. So the 3 kids, Lionel, Ethel, and John, were partially raised by their grandmother, who they called Mum.
Mum.
I don't know how to say that cutesy. Mum.
Mum.
Anyways.
I hate it.
In 1955, Ethel released an autobiography, and she talks about her grandma and living in her grandma's house. So she says, "I thought that house on 12th Street was enormous, with large rooms and cavernous halls and most alarming echoes. I can see now the Victorian landscapes on the walls, the gold-colored sofa, the music box on the table, which grandmother magnificently wound up so that it might unwind to the Carnival of Venice, and the square piano, upon which were pictures of Edwin Forrest and his wife. There was a sturdy solemnity about the place which made me seem very tiny. Years later, when I went back, somehow the house appeared to have shrunk. Everyone experienced the same thing, I suppose. I saw it with some echo of the alarm I used to feel for a copy of the Ancient Mariner, once so big that I could scarcely hold it on my lap, but it was only of ordinary size."
The house sounds like it's the makings of a haunted place.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, probably now.
Yeah, maybe. Even back then, if it's Victorian, it's probably even old then. But What do I
That's
know?
good though, because I'm gonna keep reading because what you said kind of ties into like more of this quote. About the house, on the second floor, there was a sitting room, then the bathroom, and then the annex, which was our playroom. Then there was a big front bedroom, which was a little frightenous to pass, for in it dwelt my great grandmother, who was 95.
Oh, fantastic.
Then there was a long flight up to the third floor, rather dark at night. I remember Jack being made to go up it alone as a very little boy. As he disappeared in the darkness, he was heard to say, "You can't hurt me, I have a wonderful power." Trying to, talk away those ghosts that were
Oh, yeah.
freaking out.
Yeah, yeah. Tell him who's boss.
Exactly. So that was our home when our parents were on the road or in New York, which I'm sure my grandmother spoke of as out of town. On the ground floor was also the kitchen, which held charm and mystery for us because we were never allowed to go into it. Such beautiful smells and soft Irish laughter. We always had Irish cooks and maids, all known as Mary Aggie. I suppose there once had been a Mary Aggie. End quote.
Cool.
So just basically, like, these kids grew up in their grandma's home, and it was big, and there were a lot of people. So now you kind of get the picture of the family dynamic here.
Mm-hmm.
Performing arts are a huge deal. So now we're going to talk about each of the children, those three children. We're going to start with Ethel, who was the middle of the three and the only girl. So Ethel was born on August 15th, 1879. She wanted to be a concert pianist, but felt obligated to follow in her family's footsteps with theater. Her first show debuted the Bauble Shop, which was a comedy. She was 16. She played in the show with her uncle John in New York in 1895.
Cool.
In 1901, she opened in Clyde Fitch's Captain Jinks of the Horse Marines as Madame Tritoni. She was a huge hit, and they literally put her name up in lights at that point. So
Wow.
She was starting to become a huge star.
Good for her. Okay. Go Ethel.
She was about 21, 22 at the time. She became internationally celebrated for her beauty. She was 5'6". She had brown hair, brown eyes. She looked just like me. I'm just kidding.
Soon your name's going to be up in lights.
Yeah, for real. No, I'm just kidding. So moving on with her life, she married Russell Griswold Colt, who was a socialite and stockbroker, in 1909, and together they had 3 kids: Samuel, John Drew, and Ethel Jr. So that's the
Ethel Jr. That's kind of uncommon for like them to name him after the mother and then with the junior as a suffix.
They didn't actually. Junior was never like mentioned, but I wanted to point out that this is another Ethel.
Okay.
Ethel's daughter, Ethel.
Okay. So unofficially Ethel Jr.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like
Ethel the second.
Okay.
All 3 of these kids pursued acting. In 1923, she and Russell divorced, and she never remarried.
What year?
1923.
Okay.
But she did go on to perform and expand her career. She did have one bad experience. It tainted her image. In 1930, she was in a show called Scarlet Sister. Scarlet Sister Mary. The whole cast was white, including her 19-year-old daughter. But they all dressed in blackface.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And in today's world,
that's a huge no-no.
well, the whole cast would be completely canceled. You know, it would never happen. It would never be okay. But I mean, this was the 30s, 1930, and so she was still able to go on and have like a pretty decent career. As her life went on, she started showing up in motion pictures, and she began playing older women and spinsters and women that were, close to her actual age. And so a lot of times in shows back then, the older women were like really cranky and crotchety, so she kind of like got that reputation. An actress, though, that worked with her on one of the sets, Mildred Dunnock, said, "She was a star if there ever was one. I think she was of another kind of theater than we know of these days. Another sort of being." She basically trademarked this phrase at the end of a show: "That's all there is. There isn't any more." And the whole crowd, the first time she said that, the whole crowd loved it. And so at the end of every show, she would say it, and it kind of became her thing.
Interesting. Did you ever watch that show Matilda?
Mm-hmm.
Like the cartoon version of the kids in France?
Oh, no.
Oh, well, never mind. But at the end...
You mean Madeline?
Yeah, Madeline. Yeah, Matilda was a different one. Yeah, Madeline. Did you watch that one at all?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yeah, it just reminds me, like, because that's how they end their little theme song. It's like, that's all there isn't anymore.
Oh, apparently she's the one that trademarked that, so
There you
that's
go.
pretty cool. She was granted the nickname Ethel Baritone because she was known for having like a deep, raspy voice.
Like Cher?
Yeah. She was known for being a vicarious reader, an avid baseball fan, even though she never claimed to have a favorite team.
Cool.
And she had a morbid sense of humor.
Really? Yeah, she is really like you.
Her last show was in 1950 at the age of 71, and 9 years later, she died in her sleep in 1959.
Oh, okay.
So that is the story of Ethel. So now we're moving on to the oldest of the three, Lionel. Lionel was born April 28th, 1878. He was the most at odds with theater of the three, so the most like kind of against it. He really he was a lot more reserved. So he was very talented in acting, but he preferred the kind of arts that, you know, let him be alone, like sculpting and writing and
good for him.
Composing music. But
good for him.
With that being said, he still went on to have a very successful and known career.
How known? Like, I know about him?
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, this was like he was born in 1878.
So okay.
Maybe.
I'm just trying to get more hints as to who this family is.
So he published his first novel in 1952, which was Mr. Cantonwine, A Moral Tale. That's the only time that novel is brought up, so just thought it was cool.
Let's read it.
In 1904, he married Doris Rankin. They had 2 kids, Mary, who died at the age of 2, and Ethel, who died in infancy.
That's so sad.
I wonder if Ethel, the one who died in infancy, was named after his sister in honor because, you know, she probably died like within a day or 2 of being born. So they chose the name after.
We should name our daughter Ethel.
No.
I'm just kidding.
He and Doris divorced in 1922, and a year later in 1923 he married actress Irene Fennick, who he met on set 2 years before that on set of The Claw. Have you seen The Claw?
No.
1921.
Let's go watch it.
Okay. So he and Irene were happily married until she died in 1936. Lionel continued to appear on Broadway until 1925, and then he exclusively went to film, into the film industry.
Silent films?
No, just film.
Okay.
Period. He actually signed with MGM.
Oh, okay. With the lion.
Yeah, exactly. Where he remained for the final 27 years of his career.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He played in around 250 screen roles that varied character and range. He established himself as one of Hollywood's foremost character stars. People say that he appeared very gruff and hardened, but to those who really knew him, he was gentle, kind, and tolerant of everything except stupidity.
Same there.
I didn't write down the exact dates when this happened, but at some point in his career, he became paralyzed from the waist down, so he was wheelchair bound, but he still like performed and acted and did all these things, and people would say, you know, like, take it easy, you're gonna hurt yourself, and he's like, who cares? So like he was just like, whatever, let me do my thing. So he sounded like a pretty cool guy. All right, so now we're gonna talk about he died in 1954. Lionel died in 19.
Okay. 2 years after he wrote the book.
Good memory.
Okay.
Was that right? I like literally was not going to talk about the book anymore.
I'm just trying to keep a timeline on this because I'm still trying to figure out who it is.
Yeah. 2 years after the book.
How old was he?
Do math for me.
No.
He was born in 1878 and he died in 1954.
Okay. So like almost 80.
Sure.
Okay. Cool.
This isn't math class. I don't care.
Me either. I'm probably wrong. I don't.
Anyways.
My brain shut off hours ago.
So now we're going to talk about the youngest of the 3, John.
Okay.
So John was born February 15th, 1882. He was the youngest and arguably the most talented of his siblings.
Really?
He also did not necessarily want to be an actor, but of course followed in his family's footsteps. He wanted to be a painter, and actually what he said about the situation in his autobiography, Confessions of an Actor, published in 1926, he wrote, "I mean to be frank in these confessions, and I might as well state early in them that I didn't want to be an actor. I wanted to be a painter. I left the stage to study at art school, and I only went back to the theater because there is hope, at least money, for the bad actor." So he really was just in it to like make a living.
Fair enough. Yeah, there's not much money in painting.
Right.
Unless you're like really, really good at it, but that's kind of a lost art.
But even then, people become famous painters after they die.
Like Van Gogh.
Yeah. Or like they become famous painters on TikTok, which right. Just kidding.
But like even I think who was it? I think it was Picasso. His first painting didn't sell until I'm pretty sure it was after he was dead.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways.
Continue.
So he reached the height of his career while portraying Hamlet on Broadway in 1922.
Ooh. Okay.
Do you have a guess?
No, I can't remember. I don't remember his name. I could spend like a day thinking about it. I couldn't think of it, but I know who you're talking about now. Okay.
Okay. Although he never played a role quite as challenging as Hamlet after the fact, people said that John was unable to give the same performance twice, but those who saw his Hamlet never forgot it.
Wow.
That was a quote by the Pennsylvania Heritage. So he was so good in that role that even Sir Lawrence Oliver of London sacrificed several meals to get cheap seats to see him perform.
Wow.
Yeah. I wanted to add a little insert like first world problems. this Royal Highness gave up some of his meals so he can go see a Broadway show.
You poor baby.
Oh, but that's saying something though, that he was pretty good.
Oh, for sure.
He had good looks, and his looks coined him the nickname the Great Profile. John had 4 marriages. His first marriage was with actress Catherine Corey Harris. His second was with socialite named Blanche Marie Thomas. With Thomas, he had a daughter named Diana. His third marriage was with actress Dolores Costello, and with Costello, he had a son named John Blythe. So John the 27th, I don't know. In his line, it's John the Second or John Jr.
Cool.
John Blythe. And then his fourth wife was actress Elaine Jacobs Barry. Remember his son John, because I'll go back to him. John Blythe.
John's son John?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now we're talking about John, the third sibling again, not his son. In his 50s, he started to get memory loss and had to start using cue cards on set. People said that his acting career definitely saw better days, and then he had a lifelong habit of drinking heavily that started in his teenage years, and they said that started to like wear on his face.
Yeah.
And so he started to lose basically like everything that he was known for, which is unfortunate. He even ended up playing himself as a washed-up actor in debt in a movie called Playmates. So even he was aware, of what was happening. Greta Garbo, who appeared with him in MGM's timeless classic Grand Hotel, said John was one of the very few who had that divine madness without which a great artist cannot work or live. It's like that quote from Alice in Wonderland. We're all mad here. Something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I've never actually seen that movie, but I know the quote.
I'm pretty sure I'm misquoting, but whatever.
No, I think that's right.
John died in 1942. His last words were, "Die, I should say not, dear fellow." This is where the name comes in. So let me start over. "Die, I should say not, dear fellow. No Barrymore would allow such a conventional thing to happen." Surprise! We're talking about the Barrymore family.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that?
I knew that the Barrymore, because I only just read this recently, like when we started this podcast. I'm like, I need to look up cool families, and that was one of them. I did not know that like that family goes that far back.
Well, and what's funny is that Barrymore's totally a made-up name.
Yeah.
Maurice Barrymore, who used to be
Blythe, last name Blythe.
Yeah, who was
Don't do the whole thing again.
Herbert Arthur Chamberlain Hunter Blythe.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Maurice Barrymore.
Barrymore.
All
Cool.
right.
All right. Anyway.
So John Barrymore died in 1942. I should say not, dear fellow. No Barrymore would allow such a conventional thing to happen to him. All right. So that is the story of the 3 Barrymore siblings. But as I said, John Barrymore had a son, John Blythe, who later changed his name to John Drew Barrymore.
Which is where Drew Barrymore gets her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, and if you remember, Drew was actually a name early on. It's a family name. I don't even think I said this. So Georgina, Maurice's wife, Georgie, her last name is Drew.
Okay.
So that's where John Drew came in a few times. John Drew was Georgie's dad. So then Louisa Lane Drew was Georgie's mom. So Drew is a family name. Anyways, going back to those 3 siblings really quick, all 3 of them are buried together in the Calvary Cemetery in Los Angeles. And one quick fun fact about the 3 of them, in 1933, they played together in a film called Rasputin, whatever, and the Empress. And it's the only film that all 3 of them were together in.
Let's go watch it.
Okay. In their honor, for the 3 of them, the Theater Alliance of Greater Philadelphia presents the Barrymore Awards for Excellence in Theaters. It honors excellence in acting, dance, design, choreography, music, education, community service, and lifetime achievement. So that is an award that is still being presented in Philadelphia today.
Cool.
Okay. So, John Drew Barrymore.
You're probably going to get to this. I have a quick question.
Sure.
Does it mention who is Drew Barrymore, like current day Drew Barrymore, like who her great-grandfather would be?
Her great-grandfather?
Yeah, or grandfather?
Her great-grandfather would be Maurice.
Okay. So you get to it.
I'm about to talk about it.
Oh,
yeah.
cool. Okay. I was just curious.
John Drew Barrymore, previously known as John Blythe Barrymore, was also an actor. I didn't write down his marriages. I think he had 2 marriages. But I do know that he had 4 children. So he had John Blythe, the 3rd, I think.
Sure, sounds
30th.
great.
I don't know. Blythe Dolores, and then Bram Blythe, also known as Jessica.
Bram.
Mm-hmm.
B-R-A-M.
B-R-A-H-M.
H-M.
So it's Bram.
Bram.
Bram Blythe.
Okay.
And Drew Barrymore.
So Drew's sister is named Bram.
But she goes by Jessica.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I would too.
I couldn't find anything on Blythe and Jessica, but John Blythe is known for playing Zeke in 1970s Kung Fu. So he's also an actor, but I think that's kind of like the height of his career. But then we get to Drew Barrymore.
Yes.
Who was born February 22nd, 1975. She is currently 47 years old. She was born in Culver City, California. Some fun things about Drew. She became a child star from her role E.T. the Extraterrestrial. But I wrote down some of the other roles that she's played in, which are Charlie's Angel, Never Been Kissed, Poison Ivy, Boys on the Side, Mad Love, Batman Forever, Scream, Ever After, and then the few with Adam Sandler, like The Wedding Singer, 50 First Dates, Blended. Some of her other films include Firestarter, Donnie Darko, Riding in Cars with Boys, Confessions on a Dangerous Mind, Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, Fever Pitch, Music and Lyrics, Going the Distance, Big Miracle, Miss You Already. Her directorial debut film is Whip It, which she starred in. And then she also starred in the Netflix original Santa Clarita Diet, and she currently hosts the Drew Barrymore Show.
It's quite the career.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your life? I'm just kidding.
I have a podcast. She's got nothing on me. Just kidding.
I'd take you over her any day.
Oh, thank you. Also, I didn't mention this before, but Drew's middle name is Blythe.
Oh, cool.
Drew Blythe Barrymore. So she is the recipient of several accolades, including the Golden Globe Awards and a Screen Actors Guild Award, in addition to nominations for a British Academy Film Award and 5 Emmy Awards. She received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2004.
Cool.
Drew has been married to 3 different men. So she was married to Jeremy Thomas in 1994 to 1995, and then to Tom Green in 2001 to 2002, and then to Will Kopelman. They were married in 2012 and divorced in 2016, but during that marriage, they had 2 daughters, Olive, who is 10, and Frankie, who is 8.
Are they actors?
Not that I know of.
Not yet.
Not yet.
E.T. was Drew Barrymore. That was her first movie, right?
Mhm.
How old was she? Like 5, 6?
Yeah, she was really young. I can probably tell you. It was 1982, and she was born in 75, so she was 7.
Okay.
She also had a partner, not who wasn't a spouse, but they were together from 2002 to 2007. That was Fabrizio Moretti. Just felt like I needed to mention him as well.
Cool.
Couple more fun facts about Drew. She is the godmother of Frances Bean, who is the daughter of Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And she is a vegan, and she also convinced Cardi B to try veganism.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like directly, or Cardi B just got her?
No idea.
Okay.
I
Like,
like
are they-
to think
are they,
it's
like-
directly. I
They're
mean,
like friends on the side and
probably.
hang out.
I mean, on her show, she interviews celebrities.
Like
So
go to brunch
maybe-
together.
Maybe Cardi B was on her show.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of want to watch it. I've never watched her show before.
Yeah. I mean, I think she's great. I've never really been a big fan of her, so
Really? Oh, I love Drew Barrymore.
yeah.
There was a while where I considered her my favorite actress.
Really?
Yeah, actually, I have a little story about watching Never Been Kissed for the first time. My parents went out on a date, and so they got a babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
And the babysitter turned on Never Been Kissed after all of the kids went to bed, and I snuck out and sat on the couch, and she was like, "Aren't you supposed to be in bed?" And I told her, I was like, no, it's fine. I was like 8 or 9 at the time, and this sweet babysitter didn't say anything and just like let me watch this movie with her.
Interesting.
I got in some trouble after the fact. I don't remember the occasion, but I remember I had to stay home for something that was going on. I want to say it was like 4th of July fireworks, something like that. Like, I got in a lot of trouble.
So you don't remember the exact time or date or anything like that?
No, surprisingly.
Oh.
But I do remember being totally grossed out by the banana scene.
No,
Have you
don't
seen
even
it?
mention it.
Well, it's not what
No.
you think. It's actually worse than what you think, Mr. Banana Hater.
Yeah,
It was a sexual education class, and they used bananas and condoms.
Oh,
And I was 8 or 9 watching this movie for the first time, not knowing anything about that, and being totally disgusted.
yep.
But I love that movie. And yeah, another one that I really like is The 51st Dates with Adam Sandler.
That's a good one. I like that one too.
You and I watched Donnie Darko together.
Love that movie.
That's a weird movie. I don't remember her being in it. She was the teacher.
Yeah, she was the teacher.
Forget that. I do remember. So all in all, that is the story of the Barrymores, America's royal family of the theater.
Makes you wonder, like, did they think that it's going to be such a legacy that it is now?
I don't know.
And do you think it's going to continue on?
Oh, probably.
Like if Olive and
Well, I mean, if
the other
you
kid start acting?
Frankie.
Frankie.
If you think about it though, like there was this huge family of well-known actors and actresses, and now it's like I personally didn't know anything beyond Drew Barrymore.
Right.
You know, I didn't know this whole family legacy. So maybe it all ends with her, but you never know with today in social media.
True.
I wouldn't be surprised if her daughters, you know, or grandchildren later on, if her daughters have kids, like if they carry on this Barrymore legacy.
Mm-hmm. Because they're basically like legends from the sounds of it.
Yeah, from the 1800s all the way
Right.
until now.
Imagine that kind of legacy.
Right. Yeah, because we have Maurice and Georgie, and then Georgie's parents,
Mm-hmm.
who were actors, and then Georgie's siblings. So all of like the aunts and uncles, then the 3 Barrymore kids, who, became this legacy.
Yeah.
And then their kids became actors as well. And then there's Drew.
Cool.
It's like family reunions are probably at like the Oscars or something. Just kidding. But yeah, what'd you think?
Yeah, interesting. So initially, like when you mentioned they were born in like the 18 something, my initial thought was like Charlie Chaplin. But I'm like, no, he was born. I'm pretty sure he was born later on, like closer to 1900. But because like when you started mentioning acting and everything, I'm like, well, Charlie Chaplin's a pretty big name, and I'm pretty sure his name was fake. Or like that's his what do you call it, stage name? I don't know that actually. I think it is, but I might be making that up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you can cover that one.
Nah. Real quick, more about Charlie Chaplin. Fun fact about him. You probably already knew this, maybe. But he himself entered a Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest and came in third.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
True story.
That's so
Yeah.
Oh, so you remember at the beginning of the story that I was telling you about how they all lived with Louisa?
Mm-hmm.
The kids lived with their grandma, mum.
Yep, mum.
And how in that quote, they're talking about how the house was pretty scary because it was so big and there were some dark places.
Like the 95-year-old
great
grandma living in there. That would freak me out too.
Yeah, so when my grandparents lived in their house in Kaysville, Utah, I used to say that their basement was really creepy, and it was. Because you walk down the stairs and to the right was like a living room area, but there was like I remember there being like a pool table, or not a pool table, it was a
foosball.
Foosball, thank you. For those of you who obviously can't see what just happened, I was just doing hand motions and Myles figured it out. Hashtag marriage. So
it's telepathy at this point.
So they had a foosball table at one point, and then past that was like a little like wet bar type thing, but it wasn't used very much, and so that was usually dark. But so when you go down the stairs, there's that little area to the right, and then there's my grandpa's computer that he used to play his games at, and then to the left was my grandparents' bedroom, and then there was like a TV room. And those, like when we were there, we wouldn't use it unless we were watching movies or whatever. And sometimes my cousin Alyssa and I would go play dress up in my grandma's room, but they had no reason to have the lights on. So the basement was always dark, and it was creepy. And my grandma, I don't know if she still does this, but she used to keep a journal of like funny things that we would say. And when I was a little bit older, she showed me the journal, and she had in there, Kourtney thinks my basement is creepy. That's it.
The end.
The end. I still do, Grandma. I still do. They don't live in that house anymore, though.
Well, cool. Thanks for the story.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me about the Barrymores.
You're very welcome.
Very welcome.
I almost gave it away at one point because Ethel, her nickname was Ethel Baritone.
Oh.
I had to pause for a second because I was like, oh, but baritone is a
is
real
that why
word.
You added in like the raspy voice and everything?
No, that's legit.
That's legit? Okay.
Well, that's why she had the nickname.
Fair enough.
Ethel Baritone.
For two reasons, the last name and the
Exactly.
voice.
Yeah.
Cool. Good for her.
Expand on that.
Good for her.
All right, Myles, my throat is a little dry.
I could tell.
Yes.
Cool. Well, you can find us on any streaming platform. Kourtney was a pro at getting that all distributed. Took her a while, but she did it. So you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on Google Podcasts, on Amazon, basically anywhere, iHeartRadio, anywhere you want. You can find us anywhere. We're out there. You can also find us on Instagram, Damily Podcast, and we also have a TikTok, nothing released yet, but same thing, Damily Podcast.
Be the first to follow our TikTok.
Besides us. But yeah, so thank you everyone again for listening, and our email as well, if you have any stories or recommendations for families or your own family stories that you'd like to share, you can email us at famdamilypodcast@gmail.com. Are you okay? But yeah, we encourage any open communication, especially in the beginning, since we don't have anyone right now. But
yeah, we would really love to share your guys' family stories. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be like extensive. You don't need to tell us the history of your entire family. If you're cousin did something funny one time. Tell us that story. If you have a favorite memory of your grandpa, like, let us know. We'd love to share it. It doesn't even have to be your immediate family if you don't want.
Right. And if you want us to keep the anonymity. Anonymity. How do you say that word?
I don't know.
If you want us to keep it anonymous, we'll respect that too. So
yeah, just let us know. Like Myles said, just send us an email. Let us know.
Anonymity.
Anonymity. It reminds me of Nemo.
I think it's anonymity.
Anonymity.
Who knows? I don't know. English is my second language.
Whatever. All right, fam dammers.
Dammers.
We're out.
Whatever you want to be called.
Out.